So I've heard conflicting reports. It looks like all the flotilla members have been released. The Times of Israel earlier today reported that 7 were still being held, so that's possible. So this was the first wave of 171 that were sent to Slovenia and Greece. I believe most of them went to Greece.
6 days has, among other things, been torture, physical and mental abuse, but at the same time, all the things we could think of in our heads were the suffering of the Palestinian people, and what we suffered from was nothing in comparison to them. We do not want to focus on what we suffered, even though we have the negligence of our own governments not supporting us in any type of way, even though that we were kidnapped in international waters for bringing aid to a starving people.
Despite of our government defeat, and despite of what you have supported during more than 1 month, Gaza will come back again. This is the first page, and we'll write other page, inshallah.
Join the Palestinian movement. This is the first biggest trip of the flotilla, but there will be more. We will not stop until Palestine is free.
They're complicit. Every single politician out there, every political leader is complicit in what's going on in Gaza. They sell arms, they let arms be transported through their countries, they buy in products, services from occupied Palestine. This has to cease. Every individual should put pressure on their own politicians, local, national, international, put pressure on them to cease the trade in anything from occupied Palestine.
See, and notice he doesn't say the West Bank. He doesn't say the occupied territories, occupied Palestine, which is all of Israel and every place under control of the Zionist government. Now, something you will notice, and you'll see this when we show the clip from Greta, every single activist, they mention the treatment that they were subjected to when asked, but they all redirect to, this is nothing compared to what the Palestinians have gone through. This is not about us. They hit that again and again and again, coming back to the theme, the message, hey, this is not about how they treated us. This is about how they treat the Palestinians year-round. But one person who did, before hitting that theme, talk about what they did to her was Rima Hassan, who's actually a French member of the European Parliament. And you just have to ask yourself, if they would do this to her, what will they do to Palestinians?
À dénoncer, j'aurais pas le temps de détailler ici le traitement qui nous a...
I gotta blow this up. A little too small for me. There are many things to denounce, and I won't have time to go into detail here about how we were treated by the Israeli regime. Some of us were beaten. I was beaten by 2 police officers as I was being put into the van. And this was also the case for others who will be able to testify later. Then we were placed in the Negev prison, which is a high security prison. There were sometimes 13 or 15 of us per cell, so we didn't even have beds, just mattresses on the floor. We lacked everything. There were elderly people with us. We all thought about the Palestinian political prisoners too. We saw messages from these prisoners covering the walls of the cells. They are suffering much worse than we are, and we must keep that in mind too. So you see, that was really the common refrain of all of these activists coming out. And that's something many of them have mentioned, how you have this disturbing writing from previous Palestinian prisoners. According to reports, some of that writing in blood. So this is from the Israeli Foreign Ministry here. 171 additional provocateurs from the Hamas Samud flotilla, including Greta Thunberg, were deported today from Israel to Greece and Slovakia. The deportees are citizens of Greece, Italy, France, Ireland, Sweden, Poland, Germany, Bulgaria, Lithuania, Austria, Luxembourg, Finland, Denmark, Slovakia, Switzerland, Norway, the UK, Serbia, and the United States. All the legal rights of the participants in this PR stunt were and will continue to be fully upheld. The lies they are spreading are part of their pre-planned fake news campaign. All right, so they coordinated ahead of time. Okay, so say they didn't give water. We had to drink the toilet water. You know what? Let's say that there's messages from the Palestinian prisoners. Okay, you got it? Repeat it back. Yeah, that's what happened. The only violent incident came from a Hamas Samud provocateur who bit a female medical staff member of Ketziot prison. Don't believe the fake news they are spreading. Attached are photos of Greta and other participants in this PR stunt at the airport before being deported. And this is one of the two pictures that they tweeted out. And Farhan Zulkifli makes this point. From the start, the IDF knew all Samud flotilla activists would eventually be released. It was just a matter of time. Even with that, IDF still tortured them, knowing these people could later tell the world what happened. Now imagine what they do to Palestinians who will never be released, who have no voice and no chance to tell their story. Exactly. They beat a French member of parliament. They held these people without food, without drinkable water, according to the reports we're getting. They would give them food with insects. I mean, this is, classic Nazi torture kind of stuff that they did to them, and they didn't give a shit. Well, we'll just deny it. That's all.
And then release a photo of them at the airport as if that's evidence of something. Why don't you take a picture of them in their cells to show us what the cells look like?
Exactly.
Show us a
Which
picture
you
of them
notice
eating
they
a meal
didn't do.
in
They
prison.
didn't send not one picture of them in the cells. You would think if you want to show this is all a lie, that's what you would show, right?
Yeah, and you wouldn't have Ben Gvir running around bragging about how they're
Right.
getting the terrorist treatment. Yeah.
So here is Greta Thunberg, who, again, she was another one who did not want to dwell on how they treated her, keep the focus on the Palestinians that they were there for. She does glancingly touch on the matter. I'm sure she'll have more to say at some point.
Samud flotilla was the biggest ever attempt to break Israel's illegal and inhumane siege by sea. And it is a story of global international solidarity, of people stepping up when our governments fail to do so, of people saying that my leaders, so-called leaders who are supposed to represent me, who continue to fuel a genocide, death and destruction, they do not represent me. And this is a last resort, that this mission has to exist. It's a shame. It is a shame. And I could talk for a very, very long time about our mistreatment and abuses in our imprisonment, trust me, but that is not the story. What happened here was that Israel, while continuing to worsen and escalate their genocide and mass destruction with genocidal intent, attempting to erase an entire population, an entire nation in front of our very eyes, they once again violated international law by preventing humanitarian aid from getting into Gaza while people are being starved. This genocide and other genocides are being enabled and fueled by our own governments, our institutions, our media and companies. It is our responsibility to end that complicity. And I also... No, not heroes. No, we are doing the bare minimum. What we are doing is not in any way, no one has to come to the rescue of Palestinian people. What we are doing is hearing and acting upon their calls for people all over the world to take action and end our complicity, to use our privileges, our platforms to take a stance against this that is in every way unjustifiable.
And as we pointed out in our segment the other night, and many people have pointed out, where's Obama? He loved Greta. He loved Greta when they were lining her up to go, promote the neoliberal vision of public-private partnership with the WEF for energy projects that was pointed out somewhat imperfectly, but I think validly in the Michael Moore produced Planet of the Humans. A lot of these projects are just money-making schemes for the companies doing them that are not actually going to solve the problem. They were lining her up to help these people get rich off their virtue signaling. And where are they now? Where are they now? Where are all these people who couldn't wait to be photographed with Greta Thunberg? They've completely abandoned her. I saw somebody tweeted out, yes, look at how this person uses their privilege and their advantages to go out on a boat as a high-profile activist. And someone responded to it. This went viral. No, that's exactly how you should use your privilege.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's exactly like what would be better if she were lined up with the Obama WEF coalition, and that's exactly what you were criticizing her for, wasn't it?
Right.
She's just spit in the face of those people, and you still don't respect her? Come on, man. Even if you don't agree with her, you have to admit she wasn't what a lot of people thought that she was.
Of course, right.
Now here's our illustrious leader here being asked about Thunberg's remarks.
A follow-up question on Israel. Israel government has been arresting and reporting activists that were traveling to Gaza. Today, Greta Thunberg, for instance, also some...
Well, she's just a troublemaker, you know. I mean, she's no longer into the environment, now she's into this. She's a troublemaker. She has an anger management problem. I think she should see a doctor. She needs anger. If you ever watch her, she's a young person. She's so angry. She's so crazy. Now you can have her. She's just a troublemaker.
Just a troublemaker. Just what would she be angry about?
Yeah.
What does she have to be angry about? Everything is peaches and cream for her generation. I don't know why she's so angry. So now this was earlier today. I think the rest, or if they might have a handful still in detention, it's not clear. But they released another 131, including Nkosi Mandela, the grandson of Nelson Mandela, including actually, I believe in this wave, Carsey Blanton, the American singer that we featured a couple times, that we interviewed at a Palestine protest a little over a month ago. I believe she was released with this wave as well. So here's the video they made. The person at the beginning is Quentin Quarantino, has a pretty enormous following on Instagram. We did a story where he was promoting some activism that we were supporting. I can't remember exactly what it was. But here he is along with the others who were released.
Tonight, the Global Samud Flotilla, a humanitarian mission carrying aid to the starving people of Gaza, was violently and illegally raided by Israeli naval forces. Our boats and belongings were stolen while we were zip-tied, brutalized, and blindfolded en route to an internment camp in the Negev desert.
In the camp, we were unjustly detained for 5 days as Israeli authorities systematically violated our rights. We were beaten, abused, and denied access to critical medication from day to day. We were denied food, water, and legal representation. And the U.S. government simply abandoned us to rot in the camp without support for our security or release.
As the flotilla's U.S. delegation, we know that what we have suffered pales to the plight of the Palestinian people. Kidnapped by Israeli forces, 11,000 Palestinians are still held in far worse conditions of indefinite detention. These include the U.S. citizen Mohammed Ibrahim, one of many Palestinians abandoned to suffering and starvation in abusive Israeli prisons.
From here in Amman, Jordan, we want to say how grateful we are for your support, for your calls and your letters, for your marches and mobilizations. All this support has helped to secure our freedom, and we know that we're only here and we're only free because of you.
But the fight is far from done. We've all emerged from this captivity even more committed to the movement for Palestinian liberation. That movement is only growing. We're coming home to keep fighting alongside you until Palestine is free.
And let's not forget, there is another flotilla headed towards Israel. This was at the time I was putting this together this morning, 4 hours, so about 5 hours ago. The second flotilla is very close to Gaza now, undeterred by anything we've heard about what the first went through. 11,000 Palestinians are still trapped in such prisons, including over 400 children, so turning back is not an option. Track us here. So if you want to track them, they're at thousandmaidens.fr/tracker/ if you want to see where they are. And, let's not forget, they've pointed out quite a few times, don't ignore this flotilla because no celebrities are on it. It looks like this flotilla has a very large proportion of journalists and medical professionals, doctors. There are people from Doctors Without Borders on this flotilla. We know the Israelis, man. They're the lives of anyone making this journey is in jeopardy. If the Israelis think they can get away with it, they will think nothing of murdering everyone on these boats. So let's not forget this flotilla. It doesn't have people who are famous, but it has people who are taking their lives in their hands just the same way, trying to draw attention to the plight of the people in Gaza. So definitely eyes on the flotilla.
Yeah, of course. And, by imprisoning the crew of this flotilla, they, meaning the Israelis, inadvertently called attention to the conditions inside these prisons where they keep Palestinians indefinitely. As for this flotilla coming behind it, look, these actions inspire more actions, and this last flotilla made it further than any flotilla had in 16 years. And at a certain point, the Israeli Navy is going to be overwhelmed, assuming a volume of, ships keeps coming in and coming in and coming in. And then you have to ask the question, okay, if one of these boats does slip through and the people get to Gaza, how do they get out? Right? That's another question.
Yep.
You're talking about journalists coming, doctors coming. We know that, and this is a morbid thought, obviously, among many, but, we've heard that part of the reason why we're not seeing as much carnage out of Gaza now is because a lot of the journalists are dead. A lot of people documenting that are no longer alive.
Everything's flattened. There's not a building standing.
Yeah, it is. It's just unthinkable. It's just unthinkable. And we're waiting to see if this peace deal comes through and gets finalized. And I don't know what the implications for that are on the flotilla and the resumption of UN aid into Gaza. But at this point, so much of that damage is already done. And so, these actions inspire more actions, and hopefully there is another flotilla coming behind this. That is one part about this being on a coastline, right? It is accessible from the sea, and one of the benefits of this flotilla, this last one, even though it did not reach shore, is that Palestinians were able to fish their own waters for the first time in many years.
Yeah, for a minute. I'm sure not able to again now.
Not now. But while the Navy was out apprehending the boats, they were able to actually fish their own waters. They were able to actually use their own resources, right? And it's an amazing thing to think that there are people who will justify a status quo in which that is not possible everyday life. What does it say about the fact that they're not allowed to fish their own waters?
Right, and if you look at Israeli propaganda, they'll tell you Gaza had a state. It was a state, and look what they did.
Right.
They don't tell you it wasn't a state. It was a prison.
Please clap.